Hi, Kevin Tharp here. Today we're going to be looking at the question of why do we build websites? Because that becomes one of the things that we need to pay the most attention to as we are going through the process of planning to develop websites. And we're in a world now where things that are related to communication are becoming more and more integrated with each other. For instance, right now you're seeing my tweet feed on Twitter, and I use Twitter to learn about things that are going on, especially with web design, so that I can try to stay current with things that are going on. And I pull in from a number of different sources here to try and stay current, but what it really comes down to is when we are talking about whether it's social media or websites or any marketing materials, any materials that we put out to try and influence people, we are trying to accomplish some objective. And that's the key term that we're looking at today from the selection of the key pillars that I've talked about in the past of web design. We're talking about objectives today. And when we're talking about objectives, what we're really talking about is why do we build websites? And so what that gives us the opportunity to do is ask the question is, what do they want people to do? So let's take a look at a couple websites. This is CNN.com. And so if you come in here, in a website, you can normally tell in the top half of a page what people are trying to get you to do on their website, or at least in well-designed sites. You can get an idea. And really here, yeah, obviously they're trying to get you to read the news and to come back. But the reason for that is that they pay for their site with ads. And so the objective of CNN is to get you to come back as often as possible, to read as many stories as possible, so that you will see as many ads as possible, and hopefully you will click on those ads because that is where they get their funding from. Now, if we go to an online retailer, we have a little bit different approach to it. When you look at this, it's obviously a busy screen, but what they're trying to do in the end is they are trying to get me to add things to my cart so that I can then purchase those, or have people purchase for those for me, so I can set up a wish list and tell you what I would like to buy here. So their goal, their objective here is to get you to go into that cart, add something to the cart so that they can purchase it, or so that you can purchase it and make them money. And that's, in a retailer, that's a pretty obvious goal. That's what they're going to be trying to get you to do. Now we're going to the Mabel Tainer Center for the Arts, which is the Mabel Tainer House here in town, and there's all kinds of productions that go on there. And it's got information about themselves, what the various tours, what's going on, gives you a chance to follow or like them. But the other thing, and you'll notice that they've highlighted it in red, what they want you to see. Their first one is sign up for a newsletter, buy tickets, or view the full calendar. And so what they're trying to get you to do is to engage from the website to their other media or their other locations. They're trying to get you into their venue. So they're going to have you sign up for other ways of getting information about concerts that are coming up, or weddings and special events, whatever's coming up. They want you to buy tickets, and they want you to look at the calendar to see what's coming up here. Buy a gift certificate, makes a donation. This is a very transparent website concerning the objectives, and it makes it really easy to see what they're trying to get you to do. The weather channel is not as obvious unless you look at what they put right in front of you as soon as you come in. They are trying to get you to engage, again, with their advertisers, because that is the way that they make their money. And so that one's pretty obvious. Now we'll go to a poetry foundation. In this one, if you look around, what they are trying to get you to do is read more poems. So it's not always a commercial objective. Sometimes it is. We want people to read more, read the poems more, watch these movies. Whatever it is, it's not always a commercial objective, but there is pretty much always an objective. And so that's where we have to focus some of our energy when we're learning to develop for the web. And back when I was taking journalism courses, one of the things that they taught us it was to ask the 5 W's and a H: who, what, when, where, why, and how. And in order to ask those about websites, one, you need to ask it at the beginning before the website ever exists. Who are we targeting with this? What are we trying to get them to do? When are we trying to get them to do? Where are we trying to get them to come from? Where are we trying to get them to go to? How are we trying to get them there? And why are we trying to get them there? And as you learn more about web development, you'll find that one of the key tools that we use in trying to answer those questions once a website is up, we use the planning process to answer those questions before we've created the website. But then we want to know if they're working. And so one of the tools that we have got in order to answer those questions of who, what, when, where, how, and why are Google Analytics, so that after we have our website up, that allows us to look at a great deal of information related to how users are interacting with the site that you have designed. And when you're talking about objectives, one of the things that they are going to want you to do is they'll have you looking at the funnel. The funnel is the process of getting people toward the goal. How do you design a website so that the users go from wherever they come into the site towards to get to that point where you are clicking on buy tickets or whatever? What is that path? What is that process that you use? And that's called the funnel. And the reason it's called a funnel is because the pages in the website are designed in a way where there may be a lot of different places that you can come in, and they slowly narrow down to a point where you can see a path towards where you're trying to get them to go. And that's called the goal flow. And that allows you to visualize what they're trying to do. So in this particular site that we're looking at, it's mountainop.com, and their goal, and they only have one goal on the site. The goal is to click the Buy Now link. So that Buy Now link is going to be on most of their pages. And this is going to show you the path, the different paths that people took to get to that. And it starts before they ever get onto the page. So it might start with direct mail. It might start with Bing. It might start with Google. It might start with an email ad campaign or any other number of things. And what it does is it brings you through that process to get to the pages of how you get someone to click on that whatever the behavior that you're trying to get from. Now, going back to the analytics, there's a number of different kinds of information that are brought into play in analytics. And the things that we like to measure, the things that we measure are called metrics. And metrics can be seen in the dashboard here, amongst other places. We can measure new visits. We can measure unique visitors. We can measure what kind of browsers people are coming in with, where they're coming from, the visit, how long they're there, bounce rate. Bounce rate is if they come to your site, look at one page, and then leave. So that's a thing that you can look at. Goal completions. And so all of these metrics allow you the opportunity to have data that you can see to whether or not you are accomplishing the goals, the objectives that you have for your site, how they're behaving with your funnel, etc. And so those are called the dashboard. And one of the things that we can do is we can go in, and there are certain of those metrics that become more important than the other ones, and those are called key performance indicators. And your key performance indicator is going to be different depending upon the type of site that you have designed. And so in some cases it might be unique visitors. In other cases it might be where did they come from, whatever. There's going to be different key performance indicators, and those key performance indicators are the metrics, the pieces of information that we measure that allow us to best see how we are performing. Like for some places, the bounce through rate is something that you would want to have as extremely low. Other places, that's not as high. What are the different paths that they come through? And so those are the key performance indicators, and you'll learn more about that if you take an analytics course, because that's what allows you to visualize, to see how well the site that you've designed is working. Obviously, we've already talked about the goals. The goals are the different ways that we can set out and define what our metrics are going to be, what our key performance indicators are going to be, what we want the site to accomplish. And when that actually happens, it's called conversion. And conversion is simply that, where we have actually gone to the point where they have accomplished the goal. And here it's called goal completions. Another term for that is conversion. The other thing that will happen, once a person enters your site, they are either going to go to conversion, which is where they have accomplished what you have set out as the goal for them on the site, or they are going to go through abandonment, which means they leave your site without having completed your goals. And that obviously is the least desirable of outcomes. So that, in a nutshell, sums up what we're talking about when we are talking about the pillar we call objectives, which is the reason that we build websites. It's the reason that we measure them, but it also becomes the most important thing to think about at the very beginning of the development process, before you ever start coding or even thinking about color schemes or images or anything like that. You've got to think about that question of, what is it that we are building this site for? Who are the people that are going to be here? How are we going to get them to work? When, where, how, why? Of course, the who. And then you need to plan according to that, because that will affect the way that you lay out the site, what you put at the top of the page versus the bottom, what you have for navigation, and the things that you highlight within the page. So we're talking about objectives. It's one of the key pillars of web development, and that's all I've got for now. Bye.